Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Monday. Happy August 1st. Yes, I know it's been a minute, y'all. I know it's been a minute. Um, I haven't done a Monday motivation literally in months, but it is time to begin again. And I'm going to do my best to use this platform to encourage and motivate anyone that wants to listen every single Monday. Your listening ears are a blessing to me, and I hope that the Journey Well Now Monday inspirations are a blessing to you. So, as I have always said, every Monday that I have been on live, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for the times that you tuned in the past. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, or if it's this afternoon, or if it's even in the evening. Thank you. Um, we are back. It's your girl, Joy Natalie. And whether you are listening from home, your car, work, the gym, wherever it is that you may be, I hope and I pray that this Monday inspiration will motivate, inspire, and bless you, and that it will help you this week to realize and to affirm that you can journey well now, today. So let's get to it. Um, I didn't have to ponder much about what this first Monday inspiration back would be about. It came to me clear as day before I had even decided that I would return doing this, because at one point I had wrestled with not even doing this anymore at all, not even doing a lot of things anymore at all. But thank God that left my mind and I'm here. But this year has been full of ups and downs and disappointments and roller coasters and instability for me. I started the year with COVID, and it took me out for weeks. Immediately to follow that, my roof caved in my apartment, and I had to move back in with my parents. And what was supposed to be for just a few weeks, maybe 3 to 4 weeks, actually turned into a few months. And to really be honest with you guys, I'm still not fully back in my place yet or settled. Um, then to follow that, my dad became ill, and most of my time and energy was put into helping my mom care for him. And it was a blessing to be there, because if it wasn't for my roof caving in, I probably would not have been as hands on as I was, or have the opportunity to be with him in the last few months of his life. But it turned out to be a blessing, even though it was difficult. There were many days that wiped us both out mentally, physically, emotionally, but God kept us through. Um, Even with that, for a moment, I thought things had kind of begun to turn around for me, because um, it looked like my dad was getting better. It seemed like I was being also positioned, to buy my first home. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this has to be God, because I'm not in my apartment. Now this possibility is opening up, and I'm thinking it's going to be this smooth process. And needless to say, it was anything but smooth. Um, and after believing God and praying and fasting for this home for me and my girls, I was told, Joy, you don't qualify. You no longer qualify for this. And it was heartbreaking, because one of my biggest goals as a mother is to buy a home so my beautiful daughters can have their own room. When I tell you guys, they are two of the most grateful children that I have. They don't complain about anything, but it still hurts me to this day. This day, Monday, August 1st, 2022, it still hurts me that they have to make the sacrifice that they make. Um, and all of this is happening while I'm still trying to raise them and provide some sense of normalcy, because just like my world has been rocked, their world has been rocked too. And because I bear most of the responsibility of parenting, it's not easy. But God has been gracious to me, and He has given me a village. So I will not do much complaining on that matter. But moving on, in the meantime, I managed to gain 35, 40 pounds. And for months, like I was literally no longer taking care the words of Forrest Gump. That's really all I have to say about that right now. But to continue on, the last 5 to 6 weeks, I've been not only in pain emotionally from the loss of my father, but I've been in constant pain physically, so much so that a couple of weeks ago, I was unable to even walk without assistance, y'all. I had lost my mobility. Like, it had brought me basically at this point to an even deeper depression, or should I say functioning depression, because I was still doing things I had to do, but my spirits were low. I wasn't the same person. Um, I'm still not the same person right now, but I'm just being honest about where I've been and where I am. And I felt myself completely drowning and losing it. I started to think, like, what the hell is going on in my life? Like, God, what the hell is going on? And that's exactly how I said it, because I didn't understand. And I know some of you all are thinking to yourself now, like, this is supposed to be Monday inspiration, motivation. How is this inspiring me? How is this supposed to help me start my week off strong, motivated, inspired, strong, ready to conquer? Well, in the midst of all of this, somehow, some way, I was still thinking about faith and God's timing. Like, that still stayed with me. And I have a lot of things that I'm believing God for and having faith for now. And these things currently seem out of reach. They seem impossible. It seems like there's no way to get there. And today I still don't know the how or the when or anything. So I started a devotional on trusting God. And the very first day was on faith. And I read Hebrews. Hebrews has that faith chapter. And I looked at all of the accounts of those men and women in the Bible that exhibited faith. By faith Enoch, and by faith Moses, and by faith Noah, and by faith Abraham, and by faith Sarah. Um, I was trying to hold close to their stories and experiences to help me, but it didn't quite do it for me. I couldn't quite grasp it. Like, I believed and I was all right. Yeah, he did it for them. But it didn't lift me how I anticipated that it would lift me. And then I realized in that moment that I was doubting again while reading somebody else's story about faith. That, Joy, you have your own faith story, your own faith experiences. By faith, I believed that I would be healed from COVID. And God touched my body, and it was so. By faith, I believe that even though my bills calculate every month to be more than my income, I will always have enough to pay everything. And by the grace of God, it has been so. By faith, I believed that one day when I lost my wallet, lost everything, that God would show me favor with a worker in the DMV to help me get what I needed, even though I had lost everything I needed to prove who I was. And it was so. He gave me favor. By faith, I believe that my dad would live longer than the 3 weeks that the doctor stated that he had. And it was so. My dad lived 3 months longer than that. And he lived well. And he walked. And he talked. And he laughed. It was so. By faith, a few years ago, I left my job of 10 years to uncharted waters to start something new, trusting God that it would be one of the best experiences of my life. And it was so. I'm learning so much. By faith, I sat in my broken down vehicle one night on the highway, crying, frustrated. And I believed God that I would be able to purchase my own car with a decent interest rate with jacked up credit. And it was so. By faith, after being denied and having to walk away from an apartment that I really wanted, I believed God that He had something perfect for me and my daughters. And a couple of months later, we moved into our new apartment with the best landlords who said they believed God wanted them to save this apartment for us. By faith, it was so. I could go on and on because every day I add to my faith story, big or small. And so I want to ask the question as I close out this Monday inspiration: what are your faith experiences? When you find yourself running down the list of what's not going right or what you're waiting for that's not happening the way you wanted it to, what in the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years of your life have you made it through by faith? I want you to write down every day your faith story, your by faith story, the big and the small. Every day this week, think of something that God has done that you are on the other side of, and begin to build and remember your own accounts of what God has done. What's your chapter in Hebrews? Sometimes we can't relate to the testimony of others. Many times we can, but sometimes we just can't. But that's when we dig deep and remember that it was by faith that we are here today. So I challenge you to be motivated and inspired this day, this week, this month, this year, your life, to remember all of the Jordans that you've crossed over, all of the mountains you've climbed, all of the valleys you've made it through, all of the storms you've endured and seen pass you by, because all of this has happened by faith. Everything that you are on the other side of has been by faith. You are not forgotten. Your faith stories are just beginning. There is still more ahead of you than there is behind you. You are still here, which means your faith story is just as alive as you are. Again, it's your girl, Joy Natalie. Remember, we're live every day at 7 a.m. now, not 6, 7 a.m. You can tune in live, or you can watch the replay on my YouTube channel, Journey Well with Joy Natalie. If you haven't, stop what you're doing right now. Go to YouTube, subscribe, watch some of the videos that are already posted. It is appreciated, guys. I love you. And remember, the journey doesn't have to start tomorrow. You can and you will journey well today. Love you. Have a blessed week.